Okay, welcome this morning for Human Design and Gene Keys study group. Today we are going to be taking a look at the gates, the human design gates in the sign of Libra. And this is Shelley Leakey, and Linda, one of our moderators in the group, is with us here today as well. And if you need anything, you can let us know. There's Stephanie and myself, Shelley, Linda, and Jessica that are moderators in our Chiron's study. Yeah, Chiron study group. Oh, we changed the name of it, so I got a little bit caught there on the words. Anyway, so welcome this morning, and we're gonna just dive right in here for our gates in the sign of Libra. Um, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, and in the chat, if you want to share what the gates, which gates, as we talk about it, how it shows up in your design. So, like if it's colored in any way, doesn't matter if it's conscious or unconscious. Um, and if the center that it's connected to is colored in or not. So I'm putting it that way because there's beginners in the group, and I want to be sure that I'm using descriptions that everyone can understand, even if you don't know anything about human design. As long as you have your chart, then we can help you with the activations, how they show up in your chart or might behave in a certain way in your life. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right, I'm going to pull up the little mandala wheel. So today we are taking a look at the gates in Libra, and gate 46 is where we left off last week with our discussion in the sign of Virgo. So we're going to start out here with gate 46, and you'll notice that I think it's on the second or third line. Let's see that the gate 46 be, stops being in the sign of Virgo and switches to the sign of Libra. And I'm going to turn in my book. Let me see. I'm going to stop sharing real quick. The books that we're going to be referring to are Shaitan Parkin's Book of Lines. So this is like the I Ching, the Chinese I Ching, but it's human design version. Shaitan's put a lot of lovely work into it for us. And then also we're going to be referring to Barry Trosser's I Ching primer for some classical interpretation of the I Ching. And there's beautiful pictures in here. So it's just nice to bring a visual aspect as to the energy or the archetypal energy and the expression of whatever gate we're talking about. So I'm going to share my screen again. You'll notice for those that are new to the human design system, let me see if I can get this. There we go. To the human design system, that each one of the hexagrams has a little kind of glyph that goes with it, with its chop marks, and each hexagram has 6 lines in the hexagram. The bottom line is the first line, and I'm going to point this little thumb at from this little hand at the line. Let me see if I can get it bigger here. So the second line is above that, then the third, the fourth, fifth, and the sixth is on the top. So as we move through the lines, that's what I'm talking about. And when there's, say, in your own chart, if there's a planet, when there's a planet activating your a hexagram or a gate, one of these, and it's mostly that it's activating a specific line in your design, and that line falls within a specific gate. So, and then that gate sits within an astrological sign. So it gives us a lot of information, and these little tick marks are the degrees, are the astrological degrees that the line sits in potentially. So this would be like the first line, the second line, third, fifth, excuse me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it starts on the first line. You could even look at the blank spaces there as being the space of the line as well. So there's 6 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's what we're looking at. And today we're going to start with the gate 46. And I'm going to bring up our little demonstration gal here. So these are all the gates that are in the sign of Libra. Is gate 46, and I would have to bring the mandala wheel up back up to see what the order is. But basically it's gate 46, gate 18, gate 32, gate 50, gate 57, and gate 48. So the spleen center has most of the gates of Libra activated on it. So what does the spleen center have to do in our body craft? It has to do with our survival, our ability to survive in the world, to, like, say, if a bear is chasing you, this part of yourself is going to take off running. You won't even have to think about it. Notice it has nothing to do with your mind. This is our mind area, mental awareness. This is your physical body awareness, like your body has its own awareness in the world, and it will take off running if there is danger. You won't even have to think about it. It'll just start going. Like if you know, the bus is going to hit you, then you're going to just hop out of its way. And hopefully, that doesn't always happen, but your body is going to move you out of the way because this has to do with survival and taking care of your physical form. And it's very instantaneous in the moment. And it's all about keeping you healthy and well in your environment. The lymphatic system can be associated with the spleen center, and it will behave differently depending on if in your body graph if it's colored in white or if it's colored in brown. When it's defined in a chart, it will appear as a brown color, or you may have requested a chart from someone that has different branding, whatever their branding is of that chosen color, but it would be colored in. So we're going to start out here with gate 46. Gate 46 is the love of being in physical form. So it's doing whatever's necessary to take care of your body and to, um, you know, that could look up. Let me give you some examples of what that could show up as. It could show up as getting massages. It could show up as getting plenty of sleep, plenty of self-care, particularly regarding your physical form. So, like taking care of your fingernails, washing your hair, eating healthy meals, being in places that your body enjoys being in, like sitting in a garden or in your favorite chair, or snuggling up in your cozy blanket. These kinds of things, the gate 46 loves, loves, loves. And so let's go ahead. Hi, Maris. Oh, no problem. Linda and I, we just started out. So Linda's going to need to scoot here in just a moment, and I'm happy to see you here today. So we were just talking about gate 46, and I think you probably heard the explanation that I gave. And if you want to go ahead, Linda, and you're welcome to share as well while you're here, what your gate 46 activations look like for you and in your family, if you want to share any of that, and then we'll take a little bit closer look at like the themes and how that might show up for you. Okay, so your gate 46 is colored in white. So you're going to have a flexible and a flowing way of whatever is going on in your environment, and especially depending on who you're hanging out with the most, as to how your body is feeling, how you might take care of your physical form in any given moment, depending on what's happening. So you might do that different when you're spending time at the beach versus when you're at the swimming pool. Like the facilities are going to look a little bit differently. There's sand on the beach versus at the swimming pool. There's cement, and you might have different shoes or use a different towel or whatever. You might need to bring your lounge chair when you're at the beach, whereas at the pool, there's generally those kinds of things available. So, depending on where you're at, you're going to take care of your body differently. Linda says, my G is defined, my gate is not activated. Okay, so Linda, you'll have a consistent way of being yourself in the world. You know who you are, and you have particular places that you like being, and you know where that is. Um, and again, like Maris, like I just shared, you're through your gate 46, care of your physical form will show up differently depending on what location you're in and depending on who you're hanging out with. So, Maris, I can't remember if your self center is defined in your chart or not. Yeah, that's what I thought. So it would be the same explanation that I just gave for Linda. Like you'll have an innate knowingness regarding who you are and that connection for yourself. So say if there was somebody that had the 46 colored in white and the 46 and the self-center colored in white. So someone who has the self-center colored in white, they will know themselves through the people they're hanging out with and the environments that their physical form is in at any given time. So that could be at work or at school or out in the park or in the mountains or on the beach. So the big thing is to listen to your body, since we're talking about the gates in Libra, is listen to your body and how it feels in those locations. And if you're not liking how it feels, then to move to a different location. And that would be the guidance for the gate 46 colored in white as well. Even if you have the self center colored in the gate 46 being colored in white, if you're not liking something about how your body is feeling when you're with a specific person or group of people, or doing a certain activity with groups of people or a specific individual, notice how your body is feeling when you're with them. Because if it's not comfortable, if it's not feeling balanced, and say if you've got anxieties, like if your body is like wanting to get up and leave the room, or it's wanting to, or it may be shaking, like notice what's going on. Is this a healthy excitement, or is there something your body is letting you know, oh my goodness, I don't like being here. And unbeknownst to you, there's a Doberman Pinscher right around the corner and might jump on you. Like listen to your body and where you're at, and um and what's going on. Not that all Dobermans are going to do that, by the way. Just for an example, I did find myself in a situation like that where the owner had to put a couch between me and the Doberman and keep a hold of the dog, and that's a little exciting. So your body is going to want to try to get out of that situation, right? It's not going to like being there at all. So, listening to your body to notice if you are in the correct place with the correct people. And the big thing with gate 46 is showing up with the correct attitude. If we could point at any singular gate in the design that would say this is the energy of luck, and where is that in the design, that would be gate 46, the gate of serendipity. So let's take a look at Shaitan's graphics here in his book, because he shows them so nicely. So if the entire channel is defined, and this is how it will show up, and then it is the part of the channel of discovery, the 2946 channel. It's also in the collective sensing circuitry. So this means it has to do with all people everywhere out in society, but you're going to be sensing. Here, it looks like Mara's dropped off really quick. Here she is back. Okay. Hopefully she can come in okay. All right, there we go. Okay, so it's in the channel of the 2946 channel of the collective sensing circuitry. So it has to do with people, all people that you meet out in society, wherever you are in your environment. And then the step astrology here. So let me see, it's not showing very clearly for me on my camera. So the first part of gate 46 is in the sign of Virgo. So that is the first line activation is at steps 28 and 29. And then the first little part of the second line is step 29 in Virgo. And then halfway through the second line in gate 46, it shifts to the sign of Libra, and so starts out at step 0 and goes through step 3 in the sixth line. So in Libra, if you have gate 46 activated in Libra, it has to do with how you're feeling inside yourself about your physical form. And that has to do with being in your relationships with others, because Libra has to do with having balance, being open and receptive in relationships. So noticing how your body feels inside of your relationships when you're interacting with others. If you're in a correct relationship, your body will feel comfortable. It will be expressing delight and discovery and growth, like you'll feel happy. If you're not in the correct relationship, your body will let you know, because it won't feel well. It'll feel jittery, or you might even, like in Joe versus the volcano, he's like, I think I'm having a sore throat. Things like that will start happening if you're around people that are not supportive for you to be around as an individual. So it's very fascinating to look at those kinds of patterns. So it's all about paying attention to how your body feels, particularly in relationships with others. All right, so I'm going to, we're going to take a look at, here we go. There we go. Barry Trosper's book. And the name in the I Ching for gate 46 is Sheng. And I went over this at the end of the recording last week, but I'm going to go ahead and just read it again so we can apply it to how our physical form, our body feels when we're in relationships with others. So this has earth above and wind below, gentle penetrating wind below on the hexagram. And the short description here that Barry offers is opportunity to rise and advance by accumulating virtue until great. So there's a natural progression or a natural growth with this hexagram. And I'm going to read his description here. It says Sheng is depicted as a superior person beginning the ascent of stairs at a ceremonial temple. This ascent represents the accumulation of virtue along the way. Sheng is a time of opportunity associated with rising and advancement, and characterized by great progress and success. Seeking wise advice in accumulating virtue furthers such advance. Also contained in this hexagram is a message to be aware when no further ascent or advancement is possible beyond one's abilities. So there's a natural stopping point in the progression of this hexagram. Like your body will let you know when there's a resting point, is what I'm getting from that. You can see here that there's some gentlemen going up a long set of stairs up to a temple, and I'm hoping that's showing up okay. Are you able to see that okay on the screen, ladies? Hoping so. When I'm on here, okay, beautiful. When I'm on here, it kind of looks a little grainy or whatever, but okay. All right. Do you feel complete with the gate 46? That that we can move forward, or if you have, okay. All right, very good. Okay, so we'll move forward. I'm going to share my screen here and we will see which hexagram is next. So we have gate 18. This is the gate of improvements or refinement. It's the refinement takes place regarding the way things have been done in the past. So it has to do with, I'm going to close this little, there we go. It has to do with, okay, this is the way my dad did it and my grandpa did it, but I'm going to do it differently because I feel like this new thing needs to take place. It needs to be done a different way so these things can be more comfortable and bring improvements. Now with gate 18, the big thing there is that there can be criticizing and judgments that can come in. And notice it's in the collective circuitry as well. So the collective circuitry has to do with all these little channels that are on the outside of the body graph have to do with society, like out in public and things that affect people out in public. So the gate 18 has to do with correcting things and making them better and refining them and bringing improvements from the way things have been done in the past. So that is the underlying energy of the gate 18. And okay, Linda dropped off. She said she needed to go to a lunch. Oh, I don't know, a lunch gathering of some kind. So I don't know if it was with a girlfriend or what, but she had a lunch appointment. So, okay. So Mara says, I have gate 18 in a defined center, and the 58 is also the whole complete channel. Okay. All right. So being on a defined center, you will have a consistent and dependable way that you will work with your body. Like you'll notice that things behave, generally speaking, in a consistent and predictable way for you. So your 1858 channel, and of course it's connected to the root center. So this is partly what drives you in your life, Maris. Like noticing what improvements will bring greater joy into the world and particularly into your own life first, and then into your household, as well as you may notice things that could be helpful out in the world. But as I'm gonna share the screen really quick. So this 1858 channel, however, is a projected channel. It has projected energy, meaning there's not a motor connected to the throat from this channel. Like it is down here between the root and the spleen. And so what that means is it's good before offering improvements, noticing anything, judgments, dare I say. Um, wait for someone to ask for those insights or quote unquote judgments, or noticings. Now, this is a funny word, the word judgment, because in our lifetime, in our lives, we say, don't judge. You're so being so judgy, whatever. Well, quite frankly, all of us need moment to moment, we're making judgments. We're making judgments about where we're going to set our foot next while we're walking across the floor. And we are making judgments about which glass we're going to get our water to drink from. We're making judgments about what we're having for dinner this evening and if we're going to have a snack or not. We're making judgments about what paint, color of paint we're going to put on the walls in our home. Um, we're making constant judgments moment to moment. Just everyone is. So this, however, with the 1858 channel, is judgments regarding the collective. And we want to be careful how we share those kind of judgments because it could affect other people and your relationships. And waiting for someone to ask you for help and your point of view about what's going on is super important, because and also not pointing, being careful not to point these judgments at yourself or at someone else in a personal relationship, because that can have the potential of actually destroying a relationship, which is not what we want to experience in our lives. So, okay. All right. So you're understanding. Okay. Yeah, things can go very bad with this. I've learned so much from my husband. He has the 1858 channel, and we've worked with this energy. Now, I think the reason things go extremely well for he and I in our relationship is because I'm gonna show the screen. So he's got all three of these. He's a pure generator. So he has all three of these centers colored in. And then there is a split um, in our relationship that way, because my activations are up here, and then he has activations up here. And we have a space of observing how to work with judgments, um, and healthy ways of working with. I, I keep wanting to say the spirit of judgment, because there's an uplifting way to work with this energy, and we can come from a loving space and being in the space of observation and waiting and, until it's the correct time to share. And we know the correct time because we listen to our strategy and authority to know when the correct time is to share. So if you're wondering, how do we know? That's how we know, is by listening to our strategy and authority in our design. Okay, so in Shaitan's Book of Lines, we have, I'm going to scoop myself up a little bit closer here. We have Shaitan's graphics here. So as we've been talking, as part of the 1858 channel, and this channel is the channel of judgment. It's in the collective circuit and connected to the spleen center. And then our step astrology, steps 3 through 9. So again, it has to do with making improvements within yourself so that your relationships are balanced, relationships in your personal life as well as out in your community show up in a more balanced way, because it's in the sign of Libra. So ultimately, that's what we're talking about. And then and Maris, you'll have a dependable and consistent way that you like to work with this energy, because it's activated and defined in your chart. Let's see. I find the part to wait to respond very hard. Yes, because it's on the root center, you're going to want to just get moving forward all the time. And the thing is, move forward in your own personal refinements. And then as you do that, that's going to benefit the other people that are in your life, whether it's in your immediate household or out in your community. By you making personal refinements and improvements in how you behave and take action in your life, that will bring joy in your own life. And then that will just move out into the community from there. Because you're the center of your own life, right? Okay. So again, in Barry Trosper's I Ching primer, um, in the I Ching, the name of this gate is Ku, Ku. And I don't know if that said Ka or Ku. I'm going to choose Ku today. So if anyone knows different, I'm listening to this replay, please correct me, but I'm going to say Ku for now. And it's mountain above. So the upper trigram is mountain and it's gentle penetrating wind on the lower trigram. So that's said to be mountain above and wind below. Okay, so the short description here offered is prepare in advance, eliminate the decay, and rebuild completing swiftly. So noticing what's out of place. If there's been a disaster that's taken place, knocked down a bunch of chairs or taken tiles off the roof, then stop and take the time to take care of things so that as you move forward from that root center, things will go much better and everyone will be protected. So the description here, the big description, Ku is depicted as the repair of material or natural decay by all. The Chinese character is symbolized as legendary venomous insects in a bowl. Oh my goodness, decay that needs to be corrected. So legendary venomous insects. Oh my goodness, what an image. Now that's not in this picture, by the way, the coloring picture in here. Uh, I didn't remember that that was in there. Okay, I'm going to continue on. Ku is a time for eliminating the causes of and repairing decay with both pre-planning and swift completion, characterized by great progress, success, and the ability for great undertakings. There is also an implication of guilt because decay has been allowed to happen. So it kind of has a little bit of a fifth line uh, archetypal energy here, where the fifth line can have a tendency, if out of balance, to feel guilty about whatever is going on or not going on and needs to take place. So yeah. Okay. I'm going to show the picture here that goes with it so you can kind of get, let me get in the right place here. Okay, so you can see the image is of a village and they are repairing damage on the roof and other little things around the property that needs to be taken care of. I don't see any venomous, uh, epic venomous. I would say the epic. Well, I think we could stick epic in there. It says legendary. uh, Epic venomous insects. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, it's not the sign of Scorpio, so it can't be scorpions, but I suppose it could be. I don't think scorpions like eat decaying food in a dish, though. That's kind of interesting. Okay. Maybe you have some ideas, Maris. Yeah. What an image. Some of the Chinese I Ching stuff, I mean, really, these expressions are a lot archetypal energy. So let's look at this. This is an idea. Legendary venomous insects regarding what has happened in the past in a family ancestral line. Like At the energetic, spiritual level, maybe that could look like, you know, super controlling energy, or someone has just let the property go and hasn't taken care of it. I know in the area where we live, there's a couple of homes that, for all intents and purposes, the one in particular, you could look at it and go, garbage house. They literally have like cardboard boxes stuck to the front big window in the living room window, and there's piles of stuff in all over the place in the front yard. And there's another home that's in increasingly getting in the same condition in our direct neighborhood where we are. So this is the kind of thing that we're talking about is, insects could get in there. There could be snakes in there. There could be black widows. There, all these kinds of things collect insects, and we can have that kind of energy sitting in our ancestral line as well, which is possibly why these people are having this experience and they don't know how to work with the energy very well. So we definitely have compassion on them, but it is, you know, they're garbage homes where they're just collecting garbage, even though there's a little garbage transfer station here in our area where these people could take the garbage very easily and get rid of it. So it's very fascinating how we as individuals decide to live. So being mindfully aware of these things, trying not to bring judgment. And I don't know, maybe someone would think that I'm judging these people, but it's a flat out noticing, and it's something sitting in the environment in our community. And these things can be difficult to approach. There's also, talking about a roof, there's another home in the community which um, is in as bad enough state that I had asked about it at our town hall. Um, I thought it was an abandoned house, but then I noticed one day there's actually a family living in this home. And so I don't know what's happened to their funds or whatever, but their home has a big, probably a 10-foot gaping hole in the roof. So I'm hoping that the town is able to work with them. And yes, I don't know what's happened for them. They seem to mow the lawn and all that kind of stuff, but they've got like all the shingles. It looks like it used to be cedar shingles, which is quite expensive to replace. But now the damage is so extensive that the whole top of the house, the roof, like all of the rafters and everything would literally need to be replaced. Now I can't imagine what's happening inside when it snows and rains. I yeah, so these things are of concern, at the same concern level, and not necessarily from outright judgment. Yes, and sending good energy for these people because they've decided to live the way that they are, but on some level they may need some genuine help, but have said no, thank you. So we just don't know what. I haven't talked to them personally, so I don't know what's going on. But these kinds of things can show up in the community. And we can decide to either judge in a mean way, or we can extend a hand of friendship if they're open to that and maybe see what can be done to help them. And honestly, it kind of looks like they may have refused help for whatever reason. So, um, yeah, sending them some good vibes. So, these are some ways that the Gate 18 can show up in our community and in our lives and help us bring refinements and improvements for joy, the purpose of bringing joy and beauty into a community. Okay, so let's go ahead and move forward. I'm going to share my screen again. And all right, we have gate 48 next. So gate 48 is the gate of the well. It's depth of knowledge and wisdom. So this is an individual, if you have gate 48 activated in your design, then you would be an individual that loves, loves, loves to study. So taking lots of classes, developing and mastering your talents and your innate wisdom and knowledge. So it's a deep well is the image, and being able to send a bucket down into that depth of knowledge and draw out information to share with the community. So at its base level, that is the energy of gate 48. And let's see where it sits in the body graph. So it's right here at the top of the spleen center on the top left. And it's connected with the gate 16 inside this channel up to the throat center. So it has to do with expressing talent, potentially, and it has to do with mastering one's talents and trusting that you've studied long enough, especially if you are, in your later years, or even if you're 30 and you've been doing a lot of studying, gone to college, or you self-educated, and you have a lot of experience that you'd like to share, um, and knowing when it's time to share that and being open to doing that. Okay, so you have gate 48 in the second line on a defined center. Yes, defined spleen center. So you'll have a consistent way of studying and learning. So, like, you've been enjoying study group, and I appreciate you being here every Friday for study group. And so you have a consistent way of showing up to study and to learn new information and gain a greater depth of knowledge regarding what you're interested in. Okay, so that's how that can show up in your life. And let's take a look at Shaitan's description of gate 48 in his book here. Okay, so bringing freshness. The constant studying is also to bring freshness regarding what you already know. Um, I don't have this gate activated in my design. My spleen center is completely open. I don't have any gates even reaching towards the spleen center. So the way that shows up for me is I like to learn from lots of varying different sources. And it it shows here in my home. I have bookshelves full of books, and my most important books are here on the shelves behind me, so I can just turn around and grab them, including I have like mandala books and chakra energy stuff and human design and gene keys and handwriting and all that stuff here because those are my main interests, and I like them to be at my fingertips so that I can access whatever and have a flexible flow with what I have here. And any opportunity for me to freshen any of that up, like if I see a new chakra book, for example, that looks like it's fun, I'll go ahead and buy it. Even though I've got 10 other chakra books, I love accessing the energy of all of them, and so that I can bring them into the expressions when I'm sharing with other people. Amara says, as long as I don't need to read. Oh, so you prefer to watch videos or listen to audio? Is that what you like to do, Maris? Okay, so the gate 48 in Shaitan's book here, you can see the channel. He's got the image of the channel colored in here. It's the 1648 channel, the channel of talent. Again, it's in the collective logic circuit, so it's all about mastery, long term over time, being proven long term over time. And then the step astrology is from steps 9 through 15. So it starts out with taking action on the depth of knowledge and ends up with being open and receptive to receiving knowledge. And again, this has to do with supporting balance within our relationships and out in the collective or the community. Mary says, yes, video and podcast, beautiful. My husband's the same way. He's got the 1858 channel. So there might be a theme there. I don't know. I haven't talked to enough people about that. So let me ask you this, Maris. My husband has dyslexia. And not only that, the dyscalculia, meaning with math as well as with reading. So in case that, I don't know if that's another pattern within this, but it is fascinating to look at patterns that might show up in the energies of things. He doesn't have the 48 defined in his chart, but he does have the 1858. So, and definitely the spleen center. All right, so let's look at the primer for gate 48. Okay. All right, so the I Ching calls this, the name of gate 48 is Ching. It's actually Ching, and I think that means change, but I'm not really sure here in this case. It might mean something else. So we'll find out as we read this description. So it's dark abysmal water or rain, specifically rain water above in the trigram, and the below is the gentle penetrating wind. So we have rain above, water, rain above, and wind, wood below. So let's see. So it's my understanding when it says wind, wood, it's like blowing the wind through the trees, like the branches of the trees, because it will say wood. You grab a drink of water here. Mary says, I don't get the test if I have it, but a big change. My mother didn't have the money to pay for the test. Um, on which test, Maris? I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. Oh, for dyslexia. Okay. I don't know how. Okay, that's fine. I understand what you're saying now. So what you're saying is your mom didn't have the money for you to get tested for dyslexia. Um, okay. Well, I think there's lots of information online now, which is what my husband has been looking at, to help you determine that. And there's also a really nice font. If you haven't discovered it, there's actually a couple of nice fonts. There's one, Open Dyslexic, and there's one, oh my goodness, what's it called? Dyslexia. Hmm, that's going to bother me. Let me look in I'm going to pull up one of my documents. I'm not sharing my screen right now. Yeah. I'm going to pull up one of my documents and see. I think it's dyslexia font is what it's called. Dys, and I don't have that one in. I don't have that one in my thing. Dyslexia font. Yeah. Oh, open. I don't. I know I have a dyslexic font in my computer, but for some reason it's not. It's not bringing it up. So open dyslexic, or um, dyslexia font, I believe is what it's called. So like the bottom of the letters are all weighted on the bottom, and every character is formed differently so that you don't get them mixed up with each other. Because someone who has dyslexia, and I suppose this applies here with learning and gaining knowledge, because it can affect the way that you're gaining knowledge if you have dyslexia. But what happens is, say like we have the letter D right here in our hand, and it's not just, the letter D. It is it A dyslexic person will see it as if it's in 3D form, and you can pick up the letter D and move it around. So much like, you know, this infinity sign in 3D format, when it's 2D, it will just look like the number 8, right? Let's see if I can get it. 2. So it'll look like the number 8. So, however, when we put it in 3D, the dyslexic person is automatically seeing it in 3D, and they're playing with it. So this could be a circle or the letter O, right? But when we pick it up, it starts doing wild, crazy things. So all of the letters of the alphabet will appear that way to an individual that has dyslexia. Yeah. Mhm. And so then you get stuck on the letters on the page. And if the font or typeface has the letter J is just a straight line, and the letter I is a straight line, and the lowercase l is a straight line, oh my goodness, what the heck? So it makes it very, very difficult for the dyslexic mind. And I view it as a gift. I My husband is actually tests at a high IQ level, but this dyslexia piece here is sitting there. And with the dyscalculia, which is same applied to numbers, he uses a measuring stick at work all day long, but he doesn't do math. He bends the thing in half and measures that way. So he's learned all these different tricks to function on the shop floor with the dyslexic mind. So there are ways that you can work around it and still gain the knowledge and use the knowledge and wisdom that you have. Um, with some children, it makes them feel hyperactive because they're having a hard time digesting and processing the information that's in front of them. So that may come across as ADD as well. So I think some of these things get misdetermined. We need to look at the whole thing that's happening and going on. So the brief description for gate 48 here, it says that the nourishing well is the abundant source of wisdom to benefit all. Mara says, my eldest has ADHD and gate 48. Okay, well, maybe take a closer look at some of this. Watch a bunch. There's some channels that are better with talking about the dyslexia and the ADD and ADHD, but maybe check into it and see if there's more going on than meets the eye. So, yeah. Okay, then the big description here offered for the gate 48. Qing is depicted as a union of people gathered at the well for nourishment. The Chinese character symbolizes an enclosure, and in antiquity, a dot in the middle indicated a bucket. Okay, so I'm going to show the image, the glyph that they're talking about here in just a moment. Qing is a time of nourishment, of wisdom and knowledge of all, characterized by benefit to those who draw from the infinite sources of wisdom, represented by the well, especially when such wisdom is employed for the benefit of others. Those who do not sincerely seek such wisdom for the benefit of all can expect misfortune or evil. So paying attention to the knowledge and wisdom that's been gained, or, something could go wrong, Only two man-made objects are related to the two hexagrams of the I Ching. The Ching, this hexagram, and the Ting, the gate 50, which is the cauldron. So the Ching and the Ting. So the cauldron, like we talked about in, oh gosh, I don't remember which sign it was. Let me go look so I am clear. The gate 50. Oh, we haven't. That's at the end. Okay. It's actually, if we are in good timing today, we will be looking at the gate 50 today. So, because it is in Libra and then part of it's in Scorpio. So the cauldron, the Ting in this case being referred to, helps nourish and strengthen the community because in you have the 50 also. Okay. So in peaceful times and everything's going well in the village, then the cauldron is set in the center of the village, filled with sand and then incense for peaceful times and welcoming good vibes or vibration into the community. That's how the cauldron or the ting is used in peaceful times. But if something has happened, like there's been a blight or there's been frost or an earthquake or a flood or something and destroyed crops or homes or maybe a fire or whatever, then the cauldron is dumped out. The sand is dumped out and cleaned out, scrubbed out with the sand, rinsed, and then soup is put in the cauldron. So, and vegetables and meat, etc., to feed the community while they stop and take care of the damage, whatever it was, and take care of the community. And hopefully there hasn't been deaths or whatever, but as we know, life happens in villages, and maybe there could have been a death, and so things could need to stop and be taken care of. And also, the other important item, as mentioned here, is the ching or the well with fresh water in the bottom of it, so that the village can be taken care of and remain healthy and well. It's on the spleen center, and then also bringing balance in the relationships in the community because we're nourishing and nurturing everyone, not just some of the people. So, all right. So here's the image that's offered: a serene village, everyone getting water, coming and getting water to take back home to take care of their households, and people visiting and gathering around the well. Yeah, it's a very, very lovely picture. I love the coloring plates in here. They're very nice. Okay. All right. So for you in your life, you'll have consistency in the way the gate 48 plays out in its archetypal energy of gathering knowledge. Okay. And you might like to do that in groups, like with other people. In a way, I guess the Zoom call here is the well. It could be depicted as the well and gathering around, gaining knowledge and freshening up that knowledge, which is what I feel like I'm doing as I move through all these. Even though I've studied this material, I'm coming from a different angle, and it's freshening up my ability to share, and I'm gaining more knowledge regarding these energies as we move through them. So, okay. All right, so let's move on forward with the next hexagram. If I can find the correct image here. All right. So the next gate or hexagram is the gate 57, and that's where we're getting that little lower trigram where it says gentle penetrating wind. This is the gate of the gentle penetrating wind. I'm going to enlarge it here so you can see. So both the upper trigram and the lower trigram is the gentle penetrating wind. And notice, so it's yin, yin, yang, yang. And notice all of the gates in Libra have this same pattern. So let's go back here. I want to enlarge it as much as I can. So you'll notice it's yin, yang, yang for the 46, yin, yang, yang, and the same pattern for all of the gates in Libra. So this has to do with paying your attention to your inner intuitive awareness, your first intuitive hit in all your interactions with your relationships with others. This will help bring balance to all the expressions of these gates because the lower trigrams or the foundation is this gentle intuitive hit. And it only comes once. When you open your window to allow a breeze to come in, when we feel the first touches of spring, and that same gentle wind or flavor of that wind will never come again in your lifetime. It only comes one time. So the gate 57 guides us to pay attention to our first intuitive hit, those gentle, quiet intuitions that we receive when we first meet someone or a situation. It is an individual gate or expression. It's right here next to the gate 48 at the top of the spleen center. And so it helps us pay attention to our first intuitive impression when we first meet anyone or anything or enter a situation, and helps us integrate that. If we decide to ignore the first intuitive hit, it can cause problems in our lives, because as we move, I'm gonna stop sharing so you can see me better. As we move forward from that first intuitive hit, if we don't pay attention, then say our path is going to want to be, if we paid attention to that intuitive hit, we would just move forward with a sure path, right? But if we decide not to pay attention to it, then over time, the path that we could have taken will still have been a potential that was there, but we maybe many years later will have gently moved away from that path, and we're like now off in the barbed wire fence and in the weeds and wondering what happened in our relationship with someone else. So we want to pay attention to that first gentle hit, intuition of or impression that we receive, and make note of it. If someone had this defined in their chart, what I like to guide is keep a little notebook or send yourself a text when you first meet someone or come across like an advertisement for a class or to go traveling or whatever it is, and make note. Send yourself a note. This is how I felt when I first came across this information or when I first met this person, and keep referring back to it, because you could get yourself out of balance if you don't hold on to that. And it's really difficult to hold on to those first intuitive hits. So recognizing that so that you can have a way of keeping hold of that. Okay. All right. So in Shaitan's book, in the gate 57, he shows the possible connections from the 57. So potential connection is the 1057 channel, 2057 channel, and the 3457 channel. And it's in the individual knowing circuitry. So I'm going to share my screen real quick because that is the most busy place in the whole chart. So what we're talking about here is the potentials of the 1057 channel, so connecting with the gate 10, and the 2057 channel, so up at the throat, and the 3457 channel, so doing a little bit of a little dog leg here and coming around and connecting with the 34. So those are potentials that are present with the gate 57 as channel activations. And then the step astrology here is starting out at step 15, being open and receptive and bringing balance in the relationships is the basic theme of the Libra energy. And then finishing up with step 20 with emotional awareness regarding the future and bringing balance in your relationships and out in, in your own life, because this is individual circuitry gate. So Mara says, no, gate 57, but the center is defined. Okay, so you have a consistent way of taking care of your health, of being in your environment, of course, as we talked about with the spleen center, and a consistent way of, your body moving you away from danger if danger arrives on the scene. And if it does, quite often it's sudden danger, right? And that brings to mind kind of like an awareness of what's been happening in the world. More people are becoming aware that there's elements in our world that have been slowly advancing towards humanity in a dangerous way, I'm going to have to say. I want to put that, I don't want to mention a bunch of words on here. So that's like the frog in a pot of water on the stove, and the stove is just being turned up slowly. That's what's been happening. And so with the spleen center, it doesn't process that very well because it doesn't recognize, and there's not a sudden immediate danger. So we're the frog in that pot of water, and the temperature has been slowly being turned up. And most of us have not been aware of that occurring. So now we are in a pot of hot water, and as a culture, determining how to get out of that pot of hot water, like the gate 50 implies, the cauldron. This is fascinating. I'm just having some ahas coming right now. Yeah, yeah. Maybe contemplate on that, because the Ting gate 50 is the cauldron. And these elements in our world have used this to obtain control or try to get final control of humanity, which is just not healthy. It's not okay. I think if you talk to most people and described what's really happening, they would think the same. It's just not okay for this to be happening. Yeah. So the cauldron here on being on the spleen center is fascinating here. So it's been misused in the village. It's being used for an incorrect purpose. If we want to bring it back to the I Ching here, incorrect meaning it's not going to take us to our greatest joy through the 1858 channel, right? It's just not. So we want to use the Ting for correct purposes. Yep. Yep. So a bunch of monkeying around that is just not okay. All right. Oh, and as we move through these gates in Libra, we're going to become more and more aware of this in our environment, because it has to do with the upper decan in our astro step astrology, or in our step astrology, because we're moving into the 20 through 29 degrees, which is the third decan, and it has to do with how we feel about the future. So becoming aware of what's happening in our environment, immediate environment, is the gate 57. Paying attention to our gentle intuitive hits. And then as we move forward in these next gates, we'll bring awareness of what's going on in the community. Oh my goodness, what a storyline. Because it's totally been out of balance. And the frog in the pot in this poor little ting, the poor little frog in the ting in the middle of the village being heated up slowly and not noticing that the water's getting hot. So we need to inform the water's getting hot, guys. We need to do something. That's why I love the human design system because it helps us know what to do. Yep. We need to jump out of that little ting, right? Get that fire out from under it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, Barry Trosper's book, let's see what his guidance is here through the classic I Ching. And I'm going to grab another sip of water here. When I'm giving these presentations, this is funny. I always have this little fear in the back of my mind that when you swallow water incorrectly and then you just have a coughing fit. I get so nervous when I need to take a drink of water when I'm on these presentations because I have this little fear that I'm going to like swallow wrong and get it down the wrong pipe. It's kind of funny. We are on the spleen. We're talking about this gates of the spleen, so I guess it's okay to share that little concern. Okay. All right. So gate 57. It is wind and wood above and wind and wood below, like we talked about a moment ago. And then the name of this gate for through the I Ching. Oh, you know what? I forgot. No, I'm going to back up real quick. This little diagram of the Ching, the well on gate 48. I want to do this really quick. So notice this is what he was talking about is this little glyph. This represents the well. And in some classic representations of the Ching, there's a little dot in the center of the tic-tac-toe here, which indicates the well in the middle of the village. So I just had a realization. I forgot to share that. Okay, now we're going to go back to the 57. Okay, so this gate in the I Ching, the gate 57, is called Sun, S-U-N. Sun, let me read the short description. Gentle, penetrating movement and obediently adapting to circumstances. Okay, now this isn't like somebody telling you what to do. This is spirit guidance. So any intuition that you receive, any intuitive impressions you receive is from spirit, the divine or source, creative mind, God, however you want to put it, from within yourself. And I've been learning over the years since I had a huge wake up, like I think it was in 1999. No, we're not going to go over that right now, but it was all about, it started the mastery of paying attention to spirit guidance or inner intuition from inside myself. And that's what the gate 57 is all about. Once receiving those, then following that inner spirit guidance so that you can have the experience that spirit intended or your soul intended to have in your life. And can you be obedient to those rules or guidelines that you're being given through spirit guidance at that time? So there's much more going on here than meets the eye just through, everyday outlook for the gate 57. So obeying the intuitive hit or the spirit guidance that you received through the gate 57. I'm hoping that makes sense. Sun is depicted as a boat gently sailing across the waters with the wind filling the sails. In other words, the undertaking is obedient to the laws of nature. Sun is a time of gentle and penetrating movement in activities or affairs, characterized by minor progress and attainment. So, progress and attainment is slow. It's done in little increments and very small and gentle movements. Advantages found by undertaking significant tasks and seeking wise advice to assist in seeing them through. So, this is an individual that may need help in getting things done or needing coaching to get things done. A message being delivered by the wind of this hexagram is to put affairs and behavior in order. Okay, so, oh, I want to show the image. Yes, we need to show the image. Okay, I suddenly felt like an elementary school teacher holding up the image for her students. That's funny. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I love this image because it gives just a lovely summer or spring day image. Like there's gentle clouds in the sky, there's a gentle wind, and it's just moving his barge gently down the on the gentle water across the gentle lake or down a gentle stream of some kind. So yeah, um, these pictures in the book are just lovely. I love them. And it gives you a sensation in your body. If you notice when you're looking at them, notice how your body feels when you're looking at them. The artist that he had do these, they did just a good job. His name is Ken C. Young. And let me show the front of the book. So, and this book, because it was published so long ago, um, these gentlemen might not even be alive now. When you go to look for this online, it looks like somebody has stolen his name, Barry Trosper, and done some hokey thing with it. So I wouldn't suggest going and looking for Barry online. You might click a link that is not okay and somebody's like got a virus or something. I don't know, but somebody's messed with it. I think he's probably not alive and not able to, it's just not being defended. Um, but this was initially published in 1941, this book. So, yeah. And the publisher hasn't continued publishing it. So, yeah. All righty. Okay. So it being colored in white for you, did you say? Yeah. And for me, you can have a flexible way of listening to our intuitive hits and flowing with it. And it will behave differently depending on who you're spending time with in the moment. Okay. All right. Let me see. So our next gate here is the gate 32. Looks like we're having good timing this week. All right. So gate 32. Gate 32 is the gate of endurance. It's the gate of holding the image of what you're wanting to bring into physical form in your life long term over time. So keeping that image of those dreams alive in your life, of holding that image and knowing which dreams to give your energy to, your life force energy to, in order to bring them into physical form. So, and flowing with the changes that occur as you do that. So, in a nutshell, that's what the gate 32 is. And let me come to our little gal here on her body graph. So you can see gate 32 is on the lower right side of the spleen center here and connects in the channel with the gate 54, the gate of ambition. So this is bringing your dreams alive on all levels of being, material, spiritual, mental. So holding that mental image, um, emotionally holding it, like how does it feel? And until you bring it into physical form, because that's how manifestation works over time, long term over time. You want to hold the container of it, the feel of it, and believe that it's possible and keep holding on to it until it starts to congeal in physical form. Okay, let's see. You have the gate 32 colored in white, and I do as well. So this means we'll have a flexible way of bringing our dreams alive in the world, of holding those images long term over time. That could look like journaling or talking with other people about what you're wanting to do. Um, and continuing forward consistently, playing with the energy long term over time until it actually appears in physical form. So, yeah, having a flexible way of doing that. And because your spleen center is defined, you'll have a fixed way of being in your body with that, but bringing your dreams alive in the world will have a flowing nature to it, depending on who you're spending time with as well, and visiting with on a regular basis, and what you're studying in your books, etc., etc. Okay. Alrighty. So let's see Shaitan's Book of Lines. And you can see it's in a tribal circuitry, meaning it has to do with the tribe overall and the care of the tribe. So this is the channel of transformation on the 3254 channel. And then our step astrology goes from steps 20 through 26. So how we feel about the future regarding what dreams to pay attention to and focus on and bring into physical form to help bring balance in our relationships out in the community as we move forward. So, yeah. I love adding all these elements together. It gives a more fully fleshed out story when we bring across from other aspects or other materials. Okay, so this in Barry Trosper's book is Thunder Above and Wind Below. So the energy is shifting just a bit. We have potential for a wake-up call regarding our future and how it feels, and still the invitation to listen to our inner intuitive hits as we move forward. The short description here is continued consideration and sincerity preserves natural relationships. And the name of the gate is Heng. Heng is the way it's spelled. Heng is depicted as a mature marital relationship with the husband and wife diligently resolving issues together. Heng is a time for continuing consideration and sincerity to preserve natural relationships characterized by consistent progress and success. Further advantage is found in moving toward goals as a particular team. This relationship brings no regret and is seen as a mature marriage where each partner can adapt to and support the needs of the other. So bringing balance in the relationship, balanced give and take, listening to one another long term over time to bring success and peace and calm. I'm liking the little hobbit doorway that they stuck in this. It's very nice. So like the rounded doorway brings a peacefulness. almost like like a lot, like a keyhole opening is what it feels like. Okay, beautiful. All right. So let's go ahead. Do you have any questions or anything about that one or ahas, Maris? How that might be showing up for you? Okay. All right, beautiful. Okay, and the last gate in the sign of Libra is gate 50. And of course, part of the way through, it moves into the sign of Scorpio. So we'll talk about the Scorpio aspects next week. And today, the gate of the Ting, as we've learned today, or the cauldron, or the gate of values in the human design system is gate 50 here in these first few lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see in the book. I will turn in Shaitan's book. Goes through, yep, the fourth line there. So halfway through the fourth line, it switches to Scorpio. Okay, so we can see here it's right on the right side of the spleen center at the top of the triangle, or the side of the triangle, I guess is pointing in. The gate 50, and it connects in the channel with the gate 27, which is the gate of nourishing the community. So this channel, the 2750 channel and the 659 channel, which we talked about in Virgo, I believe, that these are part of the tribal defense circuitry. So this is all about taking care of and nourishing and nurturing the tribe in order to make a strong tribe and taking care of the health in the community, but also strong genetic code in connecting with the community and creating a strong community into the future. Okay, so the gate 50, as we've been talking, is the gate of the cauldron or the ting, and being able to nourish and strengthen the tribe through values specifically. So you have the 50 line 4 in a defined center and the 27. So you have the whole channel. Okay, 2750 channel of preservation is what it is. I haven't been so good at memorizing the names of the channels, by the way. I got kind of when I first headed into the human design information, there was a little transition point there where Gene Keys started coming in and Karen's information started coming in. And at that time, Karen wasn't settled in on the names of the channels. And so I just kind of had a hard time connecting with the names of the channels. So I have to look at them real quick. I think the more I talk about them, I'll get past that. But for now, I'm still needing to double check and make sure that I know what the names are. So in Shaitan's book here, he's got the graphic of the channel, the 2750 channel of preservation. It is in the tribal defense circuit. And the step astrology is from step 26 in Libra to step 29 in Libra. And then the latter part of it, steps 0 to step 2 in Scorpio. So today we're going to be talking about the Libra part of it. So bringing balance in your relationships by bringing forth strong values in your tribe or community, specifically for young adults. Because my husband has this channel as well, I've been looking at it more closely, and he does have a knack for talking with youth, like young adults, like 18 to 27-year-olds, for example, and helping them get set in a good path for moving forward, say in their career or their focus as they move forward. Because what happens in those years right there is quite often we get set in a path that maybe we don't like and we have a hard time getting out of. And if it doesn't suit us, then we need to know right away instead of waiting. Because if we wait, then a family comes on the scene quite often, and then it's very hard to get out of a career that we don't like. So the value of the Gate 50 is to listen to someone with this channel, and Maris, this would apply to you. As your children get older, you may notice that you have an increasing knack of helping them set their feet on the correct career line so that as they move forward in their life, they experience greater joy and prosperity and health and wellness because you've been present to helping them get their foot set in the correct way for who they are, so that as they move into their career or their vocation and making their choices that way, that they're able to have joy in what they're doing day in and day out. So they're not feeling like it's a drudgery, or they don't want to show up, or it's not working for them, and then having a hard time later on finding what they truly love doing. So you will have a knack in helping your children do that. And you may notice, if you have the opportunity to work with young adults, you do have the knack of helping young adults because you have the 2750 channel present in your design. So I don't know if you've noticed that. Of course, I haven't spent time with you other than in these study groups, but just notice and be aware of what happens, and who's being attracted to you. Maybe you have young adults attracted to you naturally because you have this energy, so that they can gain wisdom from you regarding true values that they can focus on in their lives. This also could be an energy of, and I would suggest, if you have not taken time to list out what you find to be your values that you place importance on in your life, maybe take a few minutes and write those down, and then change them over time as you need to adjust them, go with the flow of them, because values change over time, and constantly upgrade or add to that list. But this would be a list like if you had your children sitting in front of you, and like I was little, when I was little, my grandfather was going to go into open heart surgery, and he knew it was a possibility he wasn't going to come out of that surgery. So he took extra time with us, and he recorded some poems and stuff. I don't know what's happened to that recording. It was on a cassette that my mom had, but he had a certain cadence and tone to his voice when he would uh, um, give poetry to us. And he had memorized pages upon pages of poems. And his voice had a unique cadence to it. So he sat us down, and um, he shared all of those poems to us while my mom recorded them. And I will always remember that. And that's what he felt was important to give us before he went into that surgery. And he did not make it out of that surgery. So I'm so grateful that he did that for us, because it left an indelible memory in my mind. So the gate 50, this has the same theme. So if you had your nieces and your nephews and your children sitting in front of you, what values would you impart to them if they were never going to see you again? Those are the most important values that you want to list and you want to share with the young adults and the youth in your tribe, whoever or whatever your tribe is. So ultimately, it's a very gentle, nurturing, kind, and loving, but also it's got that thunder above. So there's that little shocking wake up call that can be offered through this channel for the community, for the support of the community. Okay, so let's look at Barry's book here. Yes, it's just very, I love this, the energy of this gate. So in the I Ching, this is called Ting, the gate of, or the hexagram Ting. as we have learned with our other exploration here today. And it is fire above. Oh, excuse me. We switched hexagrams. Oh my goodness. I got myself all mixed up. The gate 32 was the thunder above. So that one was the great wake up above. So this one is the fire or the sun. Like the sun has come out, is traveling across the sky, right? And there's a gentle wind through the day. So nice um what fall day, I guess. Libra's in the fall. So it would be the autumn. Is that true? It might be late summer. I think, oh, now that I've got this, let me look at my notes. 8:50. It is in the late summer. So yes, it would be this depiction of the late summer and having just a nice, those nice days at that transition time at that time. You see late summer. Let's see what that will be in mid-October is when gate 50. So mid-October, when those nice balmy days can happen in October, when it's not always like it's not getting chilly, but it's just comfortable outside. So that's the image that's being brought here with the gate 50. And the short description here, it says invigorating and cultivating able persons in pursuit of noble goals. I'm going to say that again. Invigorating and cultivating able persons in pursuit of noble goals. Ting is depicted as the nourishing cauldron in its place amongst superior persons. So people who are trying to do well and do better each and every day, that's what superior means in the I Ching, is the impression that I get. Homage and supplication is made for help in pursuit of noble goals. Ting is a time of invigoration and cultivation of able persons or influences in pursuit of noble goals. Characterized by the attainment of great progress and success. The Ting is an ancient cauldron used both for sacrificial and feeding purposes. So, like putting the incense, not necessarily, this isn't about, sacrificing animals or whatever in the cauldron. This is about putting incense and offerings, like is shown in the ancient Chinese culture. I didn't want to give a bad image there. Oh my goodness. Uh, Because, when you say sacrificial and feeding, that we've watched enough scary movies now, that doesn't give a nice image. So this has to do with putting incense in the cauldron in the sand in peaceful times. And when it's not peaceful times, then feeding the community by creating a big thing of stew or soup in the cauldron. Okay. The hexagram and the Chinese character both provide visual connotation with this nourishing vessel. Okay, I'm going to have to look at that closer. A warning about taking only for selfish goals prevails in this hexagram. So, not being selfish, but being open and giving and sharing. Okay, it just feels like talking to young people in a classroom situation. Let me see if I can get this. I need to glue my book together so it's not falling apart. Okay, here we go. So you can see a little village on a peaceful day, taking care of everything, and people talking with each other, sharing, gathering around the cauldron. It looks like they've got either incense or a big pot of soup there. Can't tell which, but there's nice essence coming either way for the support of the community. Okay. Yeah. All righty. No sacrificial beings, just incense. Okay. Holding a peaceful time in the village square. All right. Okay. In unexpected times, right? Got to get that frog out of that pot of boiling water out into the land where he belongs, right? Okay. All right, my dear. Do you have any other questions or any ahas or anything that you would like to share regarding what we've talked about today? Okay. All right. So, real quick. Okay. You said it's not much. I had a good time with you today. It's been very lovely having you here as well. Okay. So, this evening, if you listen to Christopher Witecki's, he's got Namaste today this evening. And then on Wednesday, as you know, is Oracle readings, and I will give you your text readings. And hopefully that is working well. If there's not enough time, I'll give you a text reading. If there's enough time, I will give you a verbal reading. This last time it went a little bit funny. Like when I got on the Facebook Live, it looked like nobody was there. Like it was blank. No comments. It said zero participants. And I made a comment in there that I was on my that I was alone on the call. And Stephanie, she comes when I ended the call after I did the throwing the coins and reading the cards and stuff. And I saw this message from Stephanie, you're not on the call alone by yourself or alone or however she put it. And anyway, it was funny. So that's why I gave you everyone text readings this last time because it got a little bit messed up. Uh, yeah, unpredictability in Facebook land. Okay. All right. You have a happy Easter weekend as well, and so much fun with your family for however you celebrate that. And I will see you later. Thank you so much.